The applause was deafening. Medals shined under stage lights. A general raised his hand to salute. Then a woman screamed from the crowd, "That hero left us to die." The room went dead silent, and the man holding the medal stopped breathing. The applause didn't fade slowly. It stopped instantly, like someone had pulled the power from the room. Hundreds of people froze in place, officers, politicians, families, cameras still rolling live across the country. On stage, Colonel Daniel Reeves stood perfectly still. His chest rose once, didn't rise again, because he knew that voice, and he had prayed for years he would never hear it again. Security moved first. 2 men stepped into the aisle. But the general lifted a hand. "Wait." The woman stood alone in the center row. Black dress. Wrinkled old, not ceremonial black, funeral black. Her hands were shaking so badly she had to lock her fingers together to stop them. She wasn't yelling anymore. She was calm now. Which was worse? "You left them," she said. Her voice carried without effort. "You heard them on the radio. You heard my husband begging, and you gave the order to leave." Every camera zoomed in. Colonel Reeve finally exhaled, slow, controlled, the way he'd been trained to breathe under fire. 5 years earlier, that same voice had come through his headset, broken by static, shaking. Echo 6 to command, were pinned, multiple casualties, requesting immediate support. The transmission had cut out mid-sentence, but Reeve had heard enough. He had heard fear, not panic. Fear. Afghanistan, Kandahar province, U2s and 17 hours. Moonless night, Operation Iron Resolve, 2 platoons, 1 extraction window. 0 margin for error. Reeve had been the ground commander. 43 men under his responsibility. The intel briefing had been clear. Low enemy presence. Clear exfil corridor. Minimal resistance expected. Intel had been wrong before, but never like this. The ambush came without warning. RPGs first. Then machine gun fire from rooftops they hadn't known existed. The convoy split, vehicles scattered, men dove for cover, and 1 platoon, Echo 6, ended up trapped in a kill zone. Back in the ceremony hall, the widow took 1 step forward. Security didn't stop her. They didn't know how. "My husband was Sergeant Mark Hale," she said. A murmur rolled through the crowd. Some recognized the name. 8 names had been quietly buried under classified ink. Mark Hale was one of them. "You called him Echo 6, she continued. "But to us he was a father." Her voice cracked. Just once. Then she forced it steady again. Reeves' hands clenched behind his back, because he remembered Sergeant Hale. Remembered his voice. Strong, calm, even while bleeding. "Sir." Hale had said over the radio. "We can still hold if we get air in the next 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Reeve had looked at his watch. Then at the map. Then at the blinking extraction timer. Command crackled in his ear. "Colonel, air support is diverted. Extraction window closing in 90 seconds. If you delay, you risk losing the entire 2nd platoon." 90 seconds. That was all he had. Reeve had been trained for moments like this. War wasn't about perfect outcomes. It was about choosing which disaster you could survive. He keyed the mic. "Echo 6, hold position. We're coordinating support." He bought them time. 30 seconds. Then 60. Then the warning tone sounded again. Extraction window collapsing. Command came back harder this time. "Colonel, this is not a discussion. You pull out now or we lose both units." Reeve closed his eyes. Just for half a second. Then he gave the order. "All units, continue exfil. Do not break formation." The radio exploded with shouting, then screaming, then silence. In the ceremony hall, the widow reached into her coat. Security surged. Hands went to weapons. She froze. "It's not a weapon," she said calmly. "It's proof." She pulled out an old phone. Cracked screen. Outdated model. "I found this in my husband's gear after they sent it home." She looked straight at Reeve. It was still recording. The general didn't stop her. No one did. The phone connected to the sound system. A soft click. Static filled the room. Then gunfire. Heavy breathing. A voice shouting coordinates. Another man screaming in pain. Then Reeve's voice. Clear. Cold. "All units, continue exfil. Do not break formation." A pause. Then Sergeant Hale again. "Quieter now. Sir, please, we're not going to make it." The room collapsed inward. People covered their mouths. A mother in the back row sobbed out loud. The live stream numbers spiked. The recording continued. More static. Then a whisper. "Tell my wife I tried to be brave." The audio ended. Silence. Not applause, silence. Grave silence. The kind that makes people afraid to breathe. Colonel Reeve stepped away from the podium. Slow, deliberate. No escort. No defense. "I heard them," he said. His voice carried without shouting. I heard every word. He looked at the widow, then at the audience, then directly into the main camera. I was told later that the radios failed. He shook his head. They didn't. The general tried to intervene. Colonel, this is not the place. Reeve raised a hand. It is the place. He turned back to the crowd. I made a decision that night. His voice tightened. One that saved 23 men. A pause. And one that killed 8. Gasp rippled again. He didn't stop. I was warned that if I delayed extraction, the second platoon would be overrun. We had no air, no armor, no backup. He swallowed. I chose who would live. The widow didn't scream. She didn't cry. She listened. The report said we never received a distress call. That was a lie. A sharp inhale from the crowd. The truth was classified because it was easier to bury 8 men than admit command failed them. He reached up, unpinned the medal from his chest. The sound was small, metal on fabric, but it echoed. He placed it on the podium. This medal was given for decisive leadership, he said. It belongs to the men who never came home. The widow finally moved. She walked to the foot of the stage, stopped, looked up at him. My husband's last message, she said softly, wasn't on that recording. Reeve froze. She pressed play again. Static. A cough. Weak breathing. Then Sergeant Hale's voice, fading. Tell the colonel I know why he did it. A pause. No one gets clean choices. Another cough. Tell him, I don't blame him. The recording ended. Reeve broke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. His shoulders sagged, his eyes closed. The general removed his cap. Officers followed, one by one. The room stood. Not in applause. In respect. The livestream cut early. News outlets scrambled. Headlines exploded. Some called Reeve a coward. Others called him honest. The military launched a review within hours. That night, the widow received messages. First from one survivor. Then another. Then families. Men who were alive because of that order. Men who carried guilt just as heavy. EDG, Colonel Reeve never wore another medal. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't defend himself. He told the truth. Heroism wasn't erased that day. It was clarified. Because sometimes a hero isn't the man who saves everyone. It's the man who stands still. When the truth finally finds him,